Okay, welcome to another edition of the Taylor Newsbreak. I'm Carl Zymak, your host. Today we're going to discuss programming and activities at the Taylor Sportsplex with manager Thomas Collins. How you doing, Tom?
Doing well, Carl. Thank you for having me today.
Good. The Sportsplex is the Downriver region's top indoor athletic complex and is made up of 4 areas surrounded by a huge fan-friendly atrium. There are 2 hockey ice arenas, including the Bell Tire Arena, home of one of America's finest youth travel programs. The ice arenas are flanked by 2 others dedicated for the most part to indoor soccer, roller hockey, basketball, and volleyball. Tom, you hired into the Taylor Meadows golf course back in May of 2015. Tell us how you eventually worked your way up the ladder. I think it's up the ladder, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely up the ladder. So I started out fresh out of high school, hired in at Taylor Meadows at our job fair. Mm-hmm. And after working there for a summer, a lot of employees worked at both Meadows and the Sportsplex, or at Lakes and the Sportsplex. Mm-hmm. And it was brought to my attention, hey, we're looking for some scorekeepers to score some hockey games in the winter. I said, I'm looking for some money in the winter, so let's do it. And then for about 4 years or so, I went to the Sportsplex every winter, to Taylor Meadows every summer, and flip-flop back and forth as I was going to college as well. And it was a great part-time job at both places, and eventually in about 2019 or so, I stuck around to the Sportsplex full-time.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, you went to Eastern.
Correct.
BA in finance.
Correct.
Now, now, obviously, you jumped in as a gig in college, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, what's your career goal? What do you want to do?
My career goal at this time is to be with the city of Taylor as long as I can. I'm happy here. I'm really happy at the Sportsplex. Everything we've got going on there, everyone I work with over there. So as of right now, especially for short-term career goals, it's to be here and just keep on running the Sportsplex to see how well everything goes.
That's fantastic. Let's talk a little bit of hockey first.
Absolutely.
Okay? Naturally, the Bell Tire Youth Hockey Club is one of the best programs of its kind in the country. Does that make your job easier or harder?
It fortunately makes my job a lot easier.
Okay.
The Bell Tire Hockey Organization, as a youth organization, under its umbrella, has about 40 teams or so, maybe even a little north of 40 teams. So our big job at the Sportsplex is selling ice and getting teams on the ice. And with being the home of the Bell Tire Hockey Organization, with all the teams that want to be at the Sportsplex, it is a blessing. And sometimes it's a curse because we don't have enough ice to go around for everyone, but definitely more of a blessing.
Yeah, you were talking about that off camera, that whole thing about never having enough ice time for some of these teams. And you were telling me, what I think people would be interested, what's price of ice?
So our price of ice going into the fall of 2024 is going to be $270 an hour.
Okay.
And that's our team rate, and we do have some alternate rates for some private training and all that, but our teams that are out there are paying $270 an hour September through February, through the end of February, until we kick off our big state playoff tournament we have every year.
Do you spend much of your time watching these players and kind of getting to know them? Usually when you have that type of organization coming through your complex, you sit there and go, I remember when Eric Lindros played here or something like that. Who kind of resonates with you?
The one that resonates from when I was a scorekeeper, and of course I watched a lot more hockey when I was in the scorebox scorekeeping, still do from time to time. The one big hockey player that resonated with me, I believe, was Luke Hughes, one of the 3 Hughes brothers from Michigan.
Yeah.
Now a defenseman for the New Jersey Devils. I remember watching him as he was 14, 15, 16. Playing at the Sportsplex probably 5-6 times a year, including the big state playoff tournament, before he ended up going to the University of Michigan and being drafted early in the first round by the New Jersey Devils. And now he's become a high firepower offensive defenseman for the New Jersey Devils there.
Did he always jump into the rush like he does now?
Funny enough, he was much more of kind of a stay-at-home character.
Really?
More stay-at-home defenseman, and he could just be. You could tell he was a class above the rest when he played. So reliable in the defensive end, but could definitely skate with the puck, skate around players. There was no secret he couldn't do that. But his role when he was playing was a solid kind of shutdown defenseman, and could get into the rush when needed. Absolutely.
All those Hughes kids are amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're all very, very gifted.
I think Quinn Hughes has I don't know whether they've made the choice or not, but he had a real good shot at the Norris this year.
Yeah.
And he was playing with Philip Hronik.
Yeah, absolutely,
enough,
former Red Wing.
Very, very nice.
Yes.
Very nice season for the Canucks.
Very much so.
Is it odd to have a locally based, successful arena like yours and ours without a hometown youth hockey component?
Thinking about it at first, it is a little bit. You look at other rinks or arenas in the area. Trenton hosts Trenton High School and a bunch of other local high school teams. Allen Park High School plays out of Allen Park Arena. So I think offhand, at first, it is a little unusual to have a Taylor rink without a Taylor High School. We are very fortunate. The Bell Tire Hockey Club does make it feel like home. Myself, our workers, everyone that comes in, we've adapted, Bell Tire as being our home team. And we're also the home rink for the Divine Child High School. Okay. So we do get a little bit of high school action in there, get a bunch of the high school kids in here for some high power games where they get a lot of turnout. So that definitely helps.
Fantastic. Tell us about hockey's not the only thing that goes on rinks.
No, absolutely not.
Tell us a little bit about your Learn to Skate program, because that's been very popular.
Yeah, our Learn to Skate program really picked up this year. It takes place on Monday evenings, usually about 5:15. We run 4 7-week sessions a year, and right at the end of those sessions, we do a whole ice show, usually Disney inspired, and they'll run about 4 shows over the course of a weekend. So we're talking lights off in the arena, proper production, skating, props, all that. This year, their big production was on The Lion King and Cinderella. So we went into our last Learn to Skate session with about 80 kids or so, and more than half of those that had been skating with us throughout the year took performance in this ice show, and they all worked their tails off. They were fantastic. They tried really hard, and they put on a fantastic production.
What's the cost component for getting involved in something like that?
The cost component for the Learn to Skate comes out to $70 for a 7-week session. Averages out to just $10 a skate.
Yeah.
Skates are included in the class, so that way you don't have to buy them, especially for the younger skaters. Skates aren't cheap, whether it be hockey skates or figure skates, so we include those in the cost of the class. That way you're not having to go out and buy a new pair of skates every year or every 6 months, especially for younger skaters.
Now, a while back, way back before you ever joined the city, there was a period of time when finances were a real problem with the Sportsplex. How are you doing now when it comes to the bottom line in comparison to back then when they were talking about possibly getting rid of it?
Our bottom line is looking great for fiscal year 23. So last fiscal year, we had about $100,000 profit. So we're very happy to put a 6-figure profit in there and show the city that we're supporting, local residents, local kids, and all the local kids that want to take place in our activities, but we're making money as well.
Right.
And we think that's very important. We're nearing the end of fiscal year 24 here, and we're looking to turn about the same number as well.
Fantastic. When the TSX was created, soccer was the other big focus,
Absolutely.
other than hockey. How is indoor soccer doing at the TSX?
Indoor soccer has been very busy. The amount of demand for our soccer field has been through the roof. Our nice open 7v7 field. We house 2 programs in the winter. The Detroit City FC Downriver, formerly Taylor Soccer Club, and the Michigan Jags program, formerly Downriver Rush as well. They merged there. But we house both those programs throughout the winter. They're practicing in there, each organization about 3-4 days a week. They're getting a lot of kids in there, and as we're still seeing, there's still growth in this youth soccer. So we're proud to have them here. Absolutely.
And when you're talking about cost components, now indoors a little bit different, but there's nothing like putting a kid into soccer outdoors, because all you need is shorts, a t-shirt, and some shin guards, that kind of thing. Little Kickers, your program obviously plays into this whole soccer development thing. Can you tell us a little bit about Little Kickers?
Yeah, Little Kickers is a learn-to-play soccer program based on fundamentals and drills and games. It's one of the most popular ones in the state. It is run by High Velocity Sports in Canton. They run it at their own facility, and they house it as well at the Taylor Sportsplex. We offer 2 different dates for it: Monday evenings, either at 5 or 6 p.m., or Saturday mornings at 9, 10, or 11 a.m. They group kids based on age range. They start as young as 18 months old, so a year and a half old with parents and children, and go all the way up to advanced fundamentals and skills up to about 11 years old. It's amazing the amount of kids that we've had come through there and stay through there, and every Saturday morning or Monday evening, we're getting, 100, 150 kids in the building just for an hour of soccer, and it's great to see.
Well, that's fantastic. A few years ago, the city invested some money to create a unique baseball, softball practice facility on your large, field.
Yes,
okay. How is that investment going? How's it paying off for you, and how's it being used a lot?
Yeah, it gets used a lot. So a couple years back, the city invested up to 3 drop-down batting cages, which retract from the ceiling. Right. So we can bring those down, and once we put those batting cages up and get them to proper height, we have what we consider an indoor baseball or softball practice facility where we have 3 batting cages, as well as pitching machines, L screens, so for batting, pitching, whatever it may be, and that leaves about half the field on the other side, which is an almost perfect size for infield drills for just about any team, younger, older, whatever it may be. So that's turned out well. We have a lot of teams, especially a lot of Taylor teams, that practice with us a day or 2 a week, and a lot of what they do is they'll split time with another team as well. So they might get a 2-hour block, and one team will use the batting cages for an hour, and one team will use the open indoor area for an hour, and then they'll flip-flop. So they're both getting a good 2-hour practice, and we're getting, maybe 50 kids out on that field at one time. It's going really well.
Given the experience that you've had with using that type of facility, could you guys actually play indoor softball, for instance, in there?
I wouldn't recommend playing indoor softball in there, just with some of the glass bricks in there.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you get the lights are up at the top.
Yeah, the lights are up at the top. The ceiling clearance is close. I think it would need to be a little bit higher. Okay. But there's definitely some potential.
The fourth arena that you have, inline hockey doubles as a volleyball facility now, home to Pulse Volleyball, the Pulse Volleyball Club. That was a big move to bring in volleyball.
Absolutely.
Okay. How is that going?
That's going really well. Our fourth arena, we kind of call it our all-purpose arena because we can do just about anything and everything out there. But the main component is the Pulse Volleyball Club, and partnering with them has been fantastic so far. The school season usually takes place in the fall up until December 31st, so just at the start of winter. After that, club season picks up, and that's where Pulse does the bulk of their business and their time. So once we turn the page into the new calendar year, starting January 1st, we have Pulse in there at least about 16 hours a week, Monday through Thursday. How
difficult was it to fit volleyball into that arena? Was it hard to kind of retrofit it? Because you needed different type of flooring?
Nope, all the same flooring. So
really?
The only thing we had to do is we had that the base plastic tiling that we use for roller hockey, and under that is a concrete base. So all we had to do was get it lined and measured out, and then there were the holes for the volleyball poles were drilled straight into the ground. So all we have to do is we take those tiles off, put the poles in, and when we're all done, we take the poles out, put the tile back over, and we're back to a perfectly functional roller hockey facility with no holes or issues or tripping hazards or anything.
That works.
Yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. Now, you also offer the Ballers basketball program for 3 to 11-year-olds, I think it is. Yep. How has that worked out?
That's worked out pretty well. That program is also, as the Little Kickers program, is also run by High Velocity as well. That program has worked out pretty well. We're always looking to get some more kids in there and build some growth. But that was kind of a perfect storm. We went out and picked up some basketball nets, and they had a lot of eager instructors that wanted to really start bringing some basketball classes to this area. And it's gotten a good influx of kids, and we're always looking to add more.
What type of participation levels are you looking at for basketball right
now? We're looking, and similar to the Saturday Little Kickers classes, they have classes at 9, 10, and 11 a.m. Saturday mornings. and kids are grouped by age as well. So they're always looking for about 8 to 10 kids at every age level at every hour of that morning.
You probably have a lot of concessions going on that Saturday morning.
Absolutely. Yes.
Somewhat hot dogs. What about additional programming and events? Because I know there's a lot of other things that fit into that facility. High school graduation, Taylor High School just graduated. What else do you have going?
We have a few other events, especially coming into this summer. Even next week, we still have 2 more high school graduations for Westfield Preparatory out of Livonia, as well as Annapolis High School out of Dearborn Heights. So we're excited to welcome Westfield Prep for their first graduation with us and welcome Annapolis back. They've graduated with us for many years. Aside from that, we'll have the Taylor Robotics competition here at the end of June. That is the last weekend in June. We'll start Thursday the 27th, I believe, and end Saturday the 29th. That's always a fun time. They have a new task every year, and the way they build up these robots, it's impressive. It's fun, too.
It is pretty cool to watch that. I've been over there for that. And they really take over the building.
They take over the whole building. It's free admission in a nice, cool arena. I'd recommend anyone come out and just check that out. We also host a couple cat shows here. We host a few every year. We have our biggest one. It's a 2-day show the last Saturday and Sunday in July this year. So that's always a fun one. That brings in a lot of out-of-town guests and a lot of very unique cat breeds. It's very cool to be a part of.
DJ Open Skates.
Yes.
I was going to ask you about that.
Absolutely.
You guys added. Well, you've always had pretty much open skates.
Absolutely.
But eventually you went to the lighting and having a DJ, and that seems to really have taken in Taylor.
It has been a very, very, very popular event, and I'm very happy to say so. So our normal open skates, and we'll fill them in on weekends where we don't have hockey tournaments, and we always want to get the public in as much as we can, especially local Taylor residents. Our normal public skate would be a 2-hour on a Friday night. Now we're doing 3 hours from 7 to 10. We turn off the house lights. We get a DJ in there. They're setting up beautiful lights, colorful lights. They're taking song requests. We've been doing it for a couple years now. It really started taking off this year. We're getting to the point where we're getting between 250 and 300 people out on the ice, not all at once.
Right.
We do get a steady flow of people that may come for the first half, and we'll resurface the ice in between just to make sure there's no hazards or anything like that. So we may get a lot of people for the first half, and even for the second half that starts at 8:30, we're still getting people coming in the door at 8:30, 9 o'clock, even just to get out there for an hour.
What's price point for that time?
Price point for that, $10 admission, $5 if you need to rent skates.
Okay.
The most you're paying is $15, and that's if you don't have your own skates, and that can get you up to 3 hours of skating, however long you want to skate for.
What in your scheduling?
Yes.
Okay. When do you take down the ice, and how big of a job is that for you?
So we take down our ice. It's usually after the third weekend in May. We have one final event we do with the Michigan Amateur Hockey Association. That's always our last ice event of the year, usually the weekend after Mother's Day. And then after that, it's a process to get those arenas heated up, start chipping away some of the ice, and aside from that, letting everything else melt. It's definitely a task. You need to have a crew of guys for it, because when you think about it, you're pushing 20,000 gallons of a water and ice combination at that point, as well as paint mixed in as well, all the way to one door into one grate to melt. So it's definitely a project. I had a crew of about 5 or 6 guys this year, and I'm fortunate to say we had everything out in about 2 to 3 days or so, and just in time for the Taylor School Special Olympics we hosted a couple of weeks back.
We had Alec Grant in here a couple days ago talking golf. He's a friend of yours. I asked him this question. I'll ask you the same one. If I could grant you any wish when it comes to your job and the TSX and maybe events program, whatever, what would you wish for?
My wish, if I had one wish, my wish would, in a perfect world, would be to have a third or fourth ice arena, as well as enough staff to run it as well. That's
which is the secret.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we spoke previously with the Belle Tire Hockey Club, we have so many teams that want to be in Taylor and want to be at the Belle Tire home rink, and especially all these younger teams that want to practice at the same time and start early in the evening. We totally understand it. We're just in a point with that. We don't have enough ice to go around. I would love to give every team that comes through the door, the 2 or 3 ice skates they want a week.
Right.
But fortunately, it's not.
Doesn't always work that way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. What's the best way for Taylor residents to follow programming and events at the TSX?
The best way would be our website,
Okay.
TaylorSportsplex.com.
Okay.
We update our activity calendar on there every month. We have our Learn to Skate on there, our public skate times, our stick and puck times in the morning as well, where people can show up and just shoot some pucks around for a couple hours. But aside from that, please give us a call. We're happy to answer any questions you have. We're always looking to get people in our Learn to Skate program, recommend people into the Little Kickers or the Ballers program. We're looking to book birthday parties. We have a lot that we can do for a lot of people, especially Taylor residents, and I think some people may not realize that. We get a lot of residents that come in and say, hey, this building's been here for 20 years. I've driven past it on Telegraph twice a day for 20 years. This is the first time I've ever been in here. It's a gorgeous building, and I always welcome those. I welcome those comments, and I welcome those people back. I said, this may be your first time in here, and you may not think so, but I guarantee we have something for you.
When it comes to, considering you're in charge of this, when it comes to near future improvements, when it comes to the facility, are you looking at anything in particular?
We're always looking at improvements.
Okay.
Right now, our main goal is some behind-the-scene improvements with our ice compressors, just to make sure our ice rinks are working 100% properly at all times. The concession stand has been a big focal point for us as well, so we're going to be looking to do some updating in there, potentially with countertops, new machinery, new fryers, maybe a new oven as well, so all that. So that's where our big focal point is right now.
Which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Well, have we missed anything?
I don't believe so. I think we just about covered every base.
Well, we are glad to have you on. This is your first time on the show. We want to have you back. We'll get you back here in 6 months, whatever it is, okay? That about ties up this episode. Thanks to Thomas Collins for joining us on this edition of Taylor Newsbreak. It's been highly informative. For Sam Rickard, Joey Camilleri behind the scenes, I'm Carl Zymak. Have a good day. Stop by the Sportsplex when you have an opportunity. And don't forget to join us on the next Taylor Newsbreak.